interesting about my 2 roles on Shortland Street is that I was a lot better when I did my first role, and then I kind of lost my confidence as an actor, actually, not because of that role, a series of things, lost my confidence for a few years, and I went to do that second role, and I was terrible. I was playing like this salsa dance instructor, and my accent was pretty good, but I just didn't have the confidence, and I think, acting is so much about confidence. The first role I had, I was very good, I thought. Give myself my own review there. I played Fergus's girlfriend. I can't remember my name, but she was quite a fun kind of tearaway. And I was just confident. I just went in, I'd just come out of doing lots of theatre, and I had a ball. Second time, very bad acting. One Shoe Short was my first short film, and I kind of fell into it by mistake. I'd just moved to Australia, and I'd got a job up in Alice Springs teaching a clown workshop to a bunch of Indigenous kids that lived on town camps up there. And then I rang my boss at Tangentyere Circus and said I'd love to come back and do something, and she said, well, what about making a short film? And so I said, okay. I said, I've never directed a short film or anything, and she said, well, just come up and we'll get some money and we'll just do it. And so I went back up to Alice and I talked to the kids I'd been working with, and they kind of told me stories from their day-to-day life, and I kind of created a story around 2 of the boys, Rodney and Jesse, and it was about them not being able to keep a pair of shoes handy to wear to school. Yeah, which was kind of interesting, because a lot of the schools in Alice made it compulsory for kids to wear shoes or they couldn't go to class. That project was right up my alley because we all come from an improvisational background, and so it felt very natural for me to walk onto their set where everything's a little bit mad and Tiger's kind of hovering around the camera team being brilliant, and Jermaine's fastidiously studying the kind of makeup and wardrobe choices, and we had a lot of laughs. It was chaotic. So I think there is a certain amount of chaos is needed, and they have a great directing style where they just kind of keep the camera rolling, they just yell stuff out, and you just, as an actor, it's brilliant because I just like go from one improvisation to another to another to another until they just have had enough and they just cut. After making 7 short films, I got the opportunity to make my first feature, The Inland Roach, which was an amazing experience. My producer Aaron Watson and I had worked so hard to get that script right and to get the finance, and so it was amazing when we were actually on set down in Queenstown actually making it. Some days we'd just look at each other and go, oh my God, we're actually making our film. And it was beautiful. I really loved the experience. The shoot I found, of course, chaotic and difficult, and there were tears and things, but I found it a very blissful experience. I just felt so lucky to be kind of in the centre of all these talented practitioners who were committing to telling the story that I'd written down. Madeleine and I co-wrote, co-directed and co-starred in the film, so it was a circus, but we tried to make it very clear to all those people coming on to the film that that's what it was going to be, and we really asked people to embrace that spirit of mad circus, and people did. Like Madeleine and I would be trying to talk to actors as well as kind of having our makeup done and pulling on wigs, and then trying to look at talking to Ginny about the shots and the way we were going to cover the scene, and all had to happen at once because we were doing everything. But we'd seen it modelled by Taika and Jermaine in What We Do in the Shadows. They'd co-written, co-directed, co-starred, and Madeleine and I had both been involved in that film, so we knew it was possible. We only had, I think, 23 shoot days for the Breaker Opera, so it was very short, which was challenging, but also it meant that we didn't have time to stand around going, oh, but I think that we should do it like this, and Madeleine, we didn't have time for any sort of confrontation or, trying to persuade each other to do it a certain way, and so it worked very easily. Madeleine and I had written the film together on and off for 4 years, so our vision was very unified. and then we'd had our 4 weeks of pre-production, and and I think neither Madeleine or I bring ego onto set, so that's very helpful and very efficient, because if we had a difference of opinion in something, the first question would always yell at us, can we do both? And we'd always be met with no. Like, okay. And then we'd just be like, okay, well, let's do it your way, or Madeleine would say, oh, let's do it your way, Jackson. And we'd do it because we didn't want to stand around, chatting about it, because we knew the more time we spent chatting, the less time we'd get in front of the camera doing ridiculous improvisations about this crazy business that we were meant to do. Madeleine and I and our whole team are feeling really excited. We're really excited that people have actually turned up to the cinema and are sitting down and watching our film, and I feel really proud of the film. Like, it is, on the one hand, it's a very kind of simplistic, colourful piece of entertainment, but on the other hand, there are things that are really important to Madeleine and I. Having so many women up on screen, having so many women work, behind the camera in this project, having such diversity within the cast. Like, I hope people just go along to enjoy it, but they're the things that make us really, really proud, as well as cheering some people up, knowing that we are promoting women in these different roles, and also putting in Auckland that we know up on screen. It's not just the 6-bedroom villas that you see in all the commercials. We wanted to put a kind of Auckland up on screen that we recognise, and the people that we interact with in our lives. So I feel really proud about that. I was offered my first television directing job last year, and it was like the dream first job for me, because it was a spin-off. It was a television spin-off of What We Do in the Shadows, the vampire movie that I had been in, that Tyker and Jermaine created, and Wellington Paranormal, which is the name of the show, focuses on the two cops at the end that come in at the end of What We Do in the Shadows, Karen O'Leary and Mike Minogue. And so Tyker and Jermaine, alongside Paul Yates, created this spin-off show, and we've shot it in the style of a reality cop show, and I think it's going on straight after Police 10-7 or one of those shows, and that makes me laugh, because it'll be the real one, then there'll be this parody one, and I was asked to direct 2 episodes. Jermaine directed the others, and it was so amazingly fun. I know a lot of the people involved. Of course I know Tyker and Jermaine, and I got to know Paul really well, and I know Karen and Mike because I've worked with them. And so we just did there were some great scripts, and on top of those scripts we did a lot of improvisation. And I was given the choice of which episodes I wanted to direct, and I chose ghosts and werewolves. So we had a lot of fun hooning around the Hutt Valley in the middle of the night. Yeah.